Tonight on News 5 Live, shocking COVID numbers. Are the latest measures enough? Will schools reopen for in-person learning October 4th? And a possible murder near Crooked Tree has residents concerned about a missing neighbor. Details of these stories and more coming up in tonight's newscast.
We have been a partner with Smart for over 10 plus years. We have a full Smart plan we use as our major driver for our business. We have a service that rolls over in that if you call one and it is busy, it rolls over to the next line. So once you call us, you can get us at any time. Before we got this Smart service, we were paying upwards of nearly $2,000 in phone bills. Since we've had our Smart service, we pay an average about $600. So we've had tremendous saving, more than 50%. For the businesses, if you want to save money, switch to Smart because it is far more cost effective and the service is excellent.
Smart continues to be innovative in bringing new technology and meaningful savings during these challenging times to businesses across Belize. Sign up for our VoIP technology or broadband packages and save more.
Imagine going through your entire day without the burden and risk of carrying cash on you. Belize's shift to digital wallets has begun with eCash. We can now skip the cash when collecting money or paying for our essentials, all while using a fast, easy, and secure platform. Simply add funds to your wallet via bank transfer or at an agent, and you're good to go. You will be able to make quick, easy payments simply by scanning QR codes. And best of all, it all happens just like that. Payments are as easy as clicking a link online or scanning a QR code. Download the eCash app from the Google Play and Apple App Store today and take your first step into a cashless lifestyle. The future is here with eCash. For more information, visit www.e-cash.com or contact us via WhatsApp at 613-0257 to find out more.
Life can be tough when a loved one suddenly departs. Dependents of the deceased are sometimes left alone to pick up the pieces and may be stranded financially. Fortunately, the Social Security Board provides survivor's benefit to ease the burden. Survivor's benefit is paid to a widow or widower, children under 18 years, or up to 21 years if attending school, or dependent parents. A survivor's benefit can be either a grant or a pension. Want to know more about survivor's benefit? Visit our website or contact any of our offices to have someone assist you. Also, be sure to visit our Facebook page and give us a like to stay informed. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
The maritime industry is the main connector for global trade. Even in a worldwide pandemic, shipping has continued to transport more than 80% of world trade, including vital medical supplies, food, and other essential goods critical for the COVID-19 response. World Maritime Day provides the opportunity to highlight shipping and other maritime activities in Belize and across the globe. The Belize Port Authority, Imarbe, and Belize Coast Guard invite you to join them for the virtual celebration of World Maritime Day under the theme Seafarers at the Core of Shipping's Future. Join the event on Channel 5, Facebook, or YouTube on Thursday, September 30th at 10 a.m.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Wednesday, September 29th. I am Sabrina Daly. COVID-19 pandemic continues to grip the country as we are experiencing a third wave of the virus. On Tuesday, the frightening data was released. 350 new cases were confirmed alone. And despite 190 new recoveries recorded, the number of active cases is now at 2,102. The daily positivity rate is at 17.3. There are 74 persons hospitalized, with 10 in ICU admissions. News 5 Today spoke with Deputy Regional Health Manager Dr. Melissa Diaz-Musa, who says that the numbers are also increasing across the country and is multifactorial.
We're seeing now numbers in other districts as well climbing, so not just the Belize district. And we do know that, dealing with the Delta variant, that's so much more transmissible than the previous original strain of the virus. We do know that, transmission will continue and numbers will go up. And of course, we keep talking about the same things most nights with regards to public health measures and the importance of public health measures. And, we've got to drive this home even stronger to our community, to workplaces, that the only way that we can control these numbers is to control the movement in our community, control the socializing, ensure that we take the responsibility, and for those who are very disciplined, continue to be disciplined.
In terms of survivability, 87% of positive cases since the beginning of the pandemic in Belize have recovered. The fatality rate is at 2.01, with 408 COVID-related deaths recorded so far. Even more frightening is that up to last Friday, 37 deaths were already recorded for the month of September. There have been 3 deaths since then, and we are still not at the end of the month. Dr. Melissa Diaz-Musa breaks down the trends.
For the months of April, May, and June, we had 3, 2, and 3 deaths respectively. And starting in July, I have the numbers down here. In July, we went to 8. And in August, unfortunately, that number went to 24 deaths. In September, as of last Friday, we were at 37 deaths directly related to COVID-19. And of course, the month isn't quite over as yet. So the deaths have significantly increased. And you are very right in saying that, especially persons 60 and over, we've seen that most of the deaths have occurred there. But from the infographics that we have been sharing, the new infographics, it's also evident that persons under 60 have also been dying from COVID. And that's a shift from last year, for instance, in the last outbreak, where the majority of persons, the great majority, were at least over 50 years old. Now we see in the data, we've had 2 persons in the 20s, we've had persons in the 30s. So every decade, we've had more persons unvaccinated who have succumbed to COVID-19 recently.
Among those 3 deaths recorded on Tuesday was nurse Bernadette Flowers Smith of the Belize River Valley. The much respected medical professional was in charge of the health center in Doublehead Cabbage for over 3 decades. She died after being hospitalized for several days at the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital. Miss Nurse, as she was affectionately known, is the first nurse to die from the virus, but she joins several other doctors who have died. Today we spoke with Dr. Melissa Diaz-Musa. She says that while Nurse Bernadette had retired from time back, she was rehired and has been working with the Central Health Region for the past 5 years.
Our team at Central Health Region have really felt this loss. Nurse Bernadette has been with the Ministry of Health for 32 years. She has served the population of Doublehead Cabbage for many, many years. I mean, when I came to the Ministry of Health in 2008, Nurse Bernadette was there at Doublehead Cabbage. And, you know, the residents of the River Valley, they have made it absolutely clear how much she was loved, how much she dedicated her time and her life to serving the health needs of these populations in the River Valley. And, you know, she will be missed incredibly by us and who she considers her work family, the nurses that she's worked closely with, the other rural health nurses in the other neighboring villages as well have been having, you know, a very difficult time dealing with this loss. So it's something that you know, it's hard for the medical team. And we just want to recognize the hard work and dedication. She has dedicated her entire life to the health needs of these villages in the River Valley. And for that, we're very grateful.
We are in week 2 of additional measures put in place by government to curb the rising COVID-19 numbers. The benefits of these measures will not be seen for another few weeks. But is 2 weeks enough? Dr. Melissa Diaz-Musa says that the longer the measures are in place, the better control of the spread.
That's the natural process of a virus. Once it starts to spread, you know, it continues with ongoing transmission in certain environments where it already exists. And it's only after a few weeks that these measures, the benefits of these measures will be seen. So we expect to continue going up a little bit, and we are very hopeful that we will soon be in our peak with this Delta variant and start to recover in the next few weeks. But it won't be overnight. You can't put a measure in for one day and then feel that the following day we will see results. It doesn't work like that, especially with transmission of viruses.
Do you think that the 2-week period is enough? Should it have been longer, maybe 3 or even 4 weeks?
Well, definitely 2 weeks will help, but it's not the great help that we're hoping for. Definitely, the longer the measures stay in place, the better we will be able to control this spread. And we do know that that's a fact. I mean, many countries have continued with very strict public health measures, and they've continued it for many months in order for us to get very good control of this spread. But as it is for the 2 weeks, we do know that we will get some improvement, but you won't see it within that 2 weeks. You will see it, you know, a few weeks after the public health measures have been taking place.
There is some good news in the fight against COVID-19. Vaccinations are up. To date, 123,475 persons are fully vaccinated. The COVID-19 vaccination report from the Ministry of Health and Wellness indicates that 23,514 children 12 to 17 have been vaccinated. Almost half of the population, 192,332 persons, have received at least 1 dose of the vaccines. Today, Dr. Melissa Diaz-Musa told News 5 that there are a number of factors attributing to the increase in vaccination numbers, despite hesitancy from some.
We are very pleased with what's happening at our vaccine sites. Persons are coming out in droves to get vaccinated. And I think that there are many factors that's causing this. Definitely that we have opened up all our vaccines for anyone to access, no matter what phase. All the phase approach has gone out the door at this point. And because we have the amount of vaccines to give our population, we're able to freely open. And getting the Pfizer as well, we had a significant number of adults waiting for Pfizer vaccine, so that has also helped us. And we have been able to vaccinate so far almost 25,000 children between the ages of 12 and 17 years old. So, and we've only started now 5 weeks to give Pfizer. So I think that that's a tremendous job that the Ministry of Health and Wellness is doing. We're pleased with what's happening, and we continue to do a combination of things. For instance, we have vaccine sites in different areas. We also have vaccines being given at our health facilities. We do the mobiles to the remote areas for vaccines. We do the outreach as well.
The planned reopening of schools for face-to-face learning does not seem like a good idea with the climbing COVID-19 numbers. While many students ages 12 to 17 have been vaccinated, is it advisable that schools reopen? Word from the Ministry of Education is that schools can reopen on October 4th for hybrid learning, following the revised guidelines of the Ministries of Health and Education. Today, we also asked Dr. Melissa Diaz-Musa about her take on school reopening.
From October 4th, we've got to take many things into account. We've got to look at our positivity rate and see that that rate is so high. It was 17 yesterday, but it's fluctuating between 10 and 17, 10 and 18 over the last few days. And an important thing with opening school is to open schools the safest way possible. So we need to drive this positivity rate down as quickly as possible. Having said that, I think it's really important that the educational aspect of our kids are taken into account. The same way we've kept open certain economic areas in our country, the education of our kids, it's so important, it's paramount. And when you look at the entire system, education has been since March of last year, our kids have not been back in school. We've got to look at the safest way, which schools are ready, what's the percentage of vaccinations. We've also got to look at the community, what's available, the internet access, all these things. We've got to look at the hybrid way of going back. So we can't go back to what we were used to, or the original way that all 30 kids are in school and you have 8 hours in the day or 6 hours. We've got to be flexible, we've got to be safe, and we've got to look at the kids, the areas in education that's absolutely necessary.
CEO in the Ministry of Education, Diane Mejia, told News 5 today that there are revised guidelines from her ministry and the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and formal information on this will be shared soon. Police are searching for Jeffrey Crawford, a resident of Mile 30 on the Philip Gosen Highway. He is reported to have disappeared under mysterious circumstances. Police say sometime around 7 a.m., a neighbor saw 2 men enter Crawford's yard. That individual later assisted the men when they needed a jump start. However, as the 2 men drove off, Crawford was seen in the back of the Nissan Pathfinder with severe injuries to his face. We are told that the witness then called police. News 5 spoke off camera to a relative of that witness. While police have not yet confirmed Crawford's death, Marcia Jones says the severity of the injuries her cousin saw on Crawford's face left him believing Crawford must be dead.
This morning I got a phone call that they killed Mr. Jeffrey this morning, and they took his Pathfinder vehicle, and I think they took his body. He don't have no problem with nobody. He's a nice, kind gentleman. Nice. I don't know why somebody would do something like that to this man. But they don't found his body nor his vehicle as yet.
How do they know that something happened to him?
I think my dad called because my cousin that was staying there saw when the person was leaving with the body inside the vehicle this morning, and he told my dad, and my dad called the police.
We will continue to follow these reports. Coming up, there's much more news after the break, so stay tuned.
Have you heard of the new MidDriver app? Let MidDriver get you to your destination safe, fast, and on time. MidDriver is an app for fast and reliable rides that are affordable and available 24/7. There is no more calling drivers. Just pin your location you wish to go and drivers will respond within seconds. Whether you're traveling alone or with a group to the supermarket, a friend's house, a party, or wherever, there is a Midriver driver waiting for you. Download our app and take your trip today.
In 2018, before I was diagnosed with cervical 4A, stage 4A cancer. First, it was at the size of a grapefruit. That's what the doctor told me. The kidney got enlarged. I couldn't do any chemotherapy because of the kidney. So I had to do only radiation. And I did my first session of 25. And then when I finished with the 25 sessions, I went back, she checked it, and she saw 4 centimeters. And I went back for the next 10 days. And after that, when she checked it again, she said, oh, it's like nothing is there. It wasn't painful, but it's a machine that you go under, and they have like a big, like a circular, and that goes 5 times. It'll take 5 minutes. 5 minutes to do the radiation, 1 session. Then you go back the next morning, another session. Well, I personally will highly recommend Galenia Hospital because of its good services, friendly staff, the doctors, very caring. Well, I just want to thank them for everything that they have done for me, you know, the staff and the doctor, especially Dr. Jamie, because she was my doctor for the radiation. You know?
Safety is at the core of everything we do at BEL. We are committed to providing a safe environment for the well-being of our employees and customers. We are passionate about safety and health in the communities we serve and continue to encourage awareness and minimize risk within our BEL family to ensure we always deliver safe, reliable, and sustainable energy. At Belize Electricity Limited, we are embracing the new normal and the future. Working together, focused and safe.
Digi has the best mobile prepaid offers that gives you more value for your money. So if you're still with the other guys, now is the time to switch. Trade in your SIM from the other provider and get a free 4G LTE SIM plus $10 bonus credit and 1 GB of data. And if bundling is your thing, we've got you covered. Enjoy data talk and text for as low as $3. Get more value for your money by enjoying calls and texts to your friends from the other provider using your all-in-one allowances. Visit us online for details on these and all other unbeatable September offers at www.livedigi.com. The National Telecom, celebrating Belize at 40 all September long.
What can't be seen but protects us from the sun? It's key for our survival. Plants, animals, everyone. For many years, we didn't realize our fridges and hairstyles were harming it. But 35 years ago, we started fighting to protect it. We're talking about the ozone layer, the huge hole we created, and the Montreal Protocol that was put in place to fix it. We've achieved so much through this global treaty. Phasing out ozone-depleting substances was a successful remedy, but some replacement substances are just as harmful to our climate as before and more. So we had to find new solutions to which we all needed to commit. The Kigali Amendment asks countries to phase down some of these. Coolant gases called hydrofluorocarbons, better known as HFCs, while they don't harm the ozone layer, they're powerful GHGs. This amendment is also pushing us to innovate in the cooling sector, building more efficient, affordable systems, making refrigeration better. This in turn is helping us reduce food loss and waste everywhere, creating food systems that are stronger, with more food to be shared. And in the midst of a global pandemic, a tough and deadly plight, these cold systems are playing a role in advancing our global fight. By keeping vaccines between 2 to 8 degrees as they travel across the globe, they're protecting people from the virus and helping to bring hope. The Montreal Protocol is so much more than ozone protecting rules. It's also about finding sustainable ways to keep us, our food, and vaccines cool.
There have still not been any arrests in the murder of Dwayne Gabriel, and those persons who were detained earlier this week have since been released. But in the wake of the senseless murder, the viral videos of the killing and the subsequent footage of the crying mother climbing into the pan of a police pickup truck to accompany the 15-year-old to the hospital keeps replaying in the minds of all Belizeans. The killing of our Belizean youth continues to send shockwaves across the country. In most households, there is a loss of security, even a fear of sending your teen to the store due to what happened to Gabriel. The promising student was carrying out an errand for his mother when his life was callously taken. Today, Home Affairs Minister Karim Musa spoke of the trauma to the country.
You say to yourself, as a politician, where did we go wrong? Because this family, when I tell you they're spiritual, they pray every day together. They made sure that Dwayne had the best education. They made sure to find the money to send Dwayne to school, to believe in him and to fulfill his dreams. It's just so shattering for an entire country now to watch this happen in front of our eyes. And 2021, we're seeing it all. And so the trauma isn't just on the family, it is on all of us. All of us, whether you have a child or not, this hurts every single one of us, and it cuts very deep.
Minister of Home Affairs Karim Musa appeared on Open Your Eyes today, where he spoke about the need to enforce the law on gang membership. Although a gang leader could get 20 years in jail under the law, this never happens, and members who plead guilty generally just get a fine. Musa says the law is an effective piece of legislation that needs enforcement at the magistrate level, and Belizean young people must also be made to stay in school and off the streets.
The police intelligence is excellent when it comes to gathering information on gang members. They have to build a case file on these individuals, you know. So they go through all of the groundwork to actually build up to prove that these individuals are members of gang, from photographs of them hanging out, from videos of them with guns, from tattoos that they may have. It's a lot that goes into building a case against them. And so you know what that is like, to have to build that case only to when it reaches the magistrate's court that they are fined and they are released. We need to look at the law. The law is there, so there's no need for us to say we need to change the law. There's no need for that. The law is there. But when it comes to other cases, for instance, this very crazy murder, we have to put greater police presence in these areas. That is being done right now operationally. We, like I said previously on our show, we are severely undermanned in the police department. So far, 50 police officers just for 2021 have gone home, whether because they were corrupt or rogue cops, they have gone home, or they may have passed away. But we are losing our police officers. And so the 225 recruits that are coming out, it's very timely and much needed, because then we can put more officers in these gang-prone areas. And that you will see more of that in Belize City. If we can mandate wearing masks, we can mandate something that is good for our children, and that is keeping them in school. And so them not showing up to school when school starts, again, this is another huge disadvantage that COVID has brought on us. Like you rightly said, so many have dropped out since COVID. But once we get back to the classroom, you must be mandated. Every single mother and father and grandparent must ensure that their child is going to school. And if not, that falls on you as the parent. And so making it mandatory is absolutely essential in this very critical time. Not everybody is built to go to school. We understand that you are more equipped to do technical, and that's why we have to offer that as well. But in the absence of those two things, and none of those things are working out for you, then we have to consider perhaps making it mandatory if you don't fall in those two categories of academics or of vocational, then perhaps the military. But you cannot be hanging out on your street corner every day and every night and scheming and plotting and what we're going to do to somebody today. That is not going to be allowed. And so that is where we need to go again, long term.
The Belize network of NGOs congratulates the Bersenio administration on its Blue Bonds initiative, which has been successfully negotiated with 84% of the holders of the super bond supporting the financial mechanism, which was proposed by the Nature Conservancy. While BNN applauds government's effort, it is also seeking public affirmation that the Blue Bonds will not destabilize existing policy achievements that protect our marine resources. This afternoon, News 5 spoke with Senator Osmani Salas, who represents the NGO community in the upper house.
The Belize network of NGOs decided that it was essential for us to submit our statement, our position statement on the matter related to the Blue Bonds initiative. We congratulate the government for getting us to this point. The so-called Blue Bonds initiative really is a huge step in the right direction. It not only gives us some much needed debt relief, but it will also create substantial financing and funding for marine conservation. Or blue space, and support our blue economy. So it was incumbent on BNN to issue a statement congratulating government about that. At the same time, they were taking the opportunity to call for strengthened safeguarding of our marine resources. So we've also felt the need to mention that. We recognize that now that hopefully very soon we'll stop referring to the super bond and we'll be able to talk about the Blue Bonds initiative. We recognize that only represents about 12% of our debt obligations as a country. So we still have a long ways to go as a country to get our external debt under control. The financial secretary yesterday pointed that out, that we were already falling off the cliff. The Blue Bonds initiative puts us back on the edge of that cliff. I mean, that tells you a lot. That tells you that there's a long way to go yet. We still have to figure out how to deal with the 88% of the debt that will be remaining. So there's a lot of work ahead.
According to Salas, while the initiative is the hallmark of sustainable human development and relieves a significant portion of Belize's crushing external debt obligations, there is still a long way to go to restoring the country's overall fiscal balance.
We must support any initiative that will result in substantial debt relief and a substantial relief of the debt burden, the massive debt burden that our country is faced with. So, this is one of those innovative. It will do a whole lot of good to this country. We will still have a big portion of that debt that is currently represented under the super bond remaining, but I believe the Blue Bonds initiative cuts that to almost half. So that will be over time. That will be huge savings to the country and by extension to the people of Belize. Huge, because that's so much less that we will have to pay over time, right? So it is a huge step. And I mean, the government is in a situation that it has to figure out how to deal with the remaining. There's still a whole lot remaining.
The BNN is also expressing concern over the cruise ports and the concentration of facilities to be built in the Belize district. As many as 5 terminals would be in operation across the country if all these projects were to be green-lighted. From an environmental perspective, Salas tells News 5 that is not sustainable.
While the Blue Bonds initiative it would be a tremendous achievement for Belize, a huge feather in our cap. It is important to point out that while the Blue Bonds Initiative will support very important marine conservation work, expanding on the good work that we have done over the years, we look forward to also being consistent with the decisions that we make in our blue space or marine space, and in particular in relation to development. So we express our concern in our press release that that currently there are 3 cruise ports developments on the table. One that is already under construction, one that has received environmental clearance, and a third that is undergoing EIA consultation process. Now, this country, I don't see how this country can accommodate all 3 of those cruise port developments, in addition to the 2 that we already have in place at 4th Street, Village and at Harvest Key. This country cannot accommodate 5 cruise ports.
After the break, new homes for people in need. News 5 is at the construction sites. But first, here's a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
And our Instagram page, Mayan World Belize. Book your tours today.
Macam Mayan Secret Vapor Gel, good for chest pain, back pain, and joint pain. Maybe good for heart pain too.
Mayan Secret Vapor Gel is a locally produced product that is excellent for deep penetrating relief from muscles, joints, and other body aches. It also offers great relief from cough and cold symptoms.
Patrick! Why? This thing work. Rub up yourself. You need to use it.
Mayan Secret Vapor Gel is available at grocery stores and supermarkets countrywide.
Welcome to the good life. Like we always do with this time.
Barcelona, one final roll of the dice.
Live the good life where you will find quality and savings on these products and more only at Benny's.
It's a fact that your credit lasts longer when using Smart. During these times, we're all trying to find ways to cut costs and save the little resources we have. With Smart, it's easy to do that. It's a fact that with Smart, your credit lasts longer. You can call Smart to Smart and Smart to Digi using your promo credit, while with the other guy, you can only call OnNet, Digi, or BTL numbers. What does this mean? You get to call any national number using your promo credit. Your promo credit is free, so that call is also free. Know your facts. Don't be tricked by the other guy. Be smart and save your dollars.
150 Belizeans are in the process of becoming homeowners as the Ministry of Infrastructure, Development and Housing launches its housing pilot program. The Briceño administration under Plan Belize has committed to building 10,000 starter homes. Yes, building 150 is a far cry from 10,000 and in a difficult economy. Ministries are pinching pennies. But with the high demand and need, it's a start. News 5's Paul Lopez visited 4 housing sites today in two different districts to file the following report.
Desiree Diego, a single mother with 2 children at home, qualified for a 1-bedroom studio home under the Ministry of Infrastructure, Development and Housing's pilot program.
My heart is full. I am very, very happy. To be honest, this comes like a miracle, and I'm grateful for all the help that I am getting. The house is more than what I expected it was going to be. Most of all, I mostly think of my children, and that's why I'm grateful for this little help that I am getting from the government and the Ministry of Housing.
The ministry selected 150 applicants they consider to be in urgent need of adequate shelter, like Carla Chavez, a single mother from Sarowi village with a 2-year-old daughter.
I have a almost to be 2 years old child, female. Well, this will help me to become more independent, more stable, and I don't know, it's just something that I've always wanted, a home of my own, something to help me educate my child, knowing that the things that I went through and how difficult it is.
Both of their homes are at foundation, with an expected completion time of 8 weeks for the entire process. In the city of Belmopan, 5 homes are currently being constructed. There we spoke to architect Jose Monterosa.
Right now we're in Salvapan area, Belmopan, and there are 4 houses being carried out in this area specifically. All the owners are private owners of the lot itself. We're initiating with the phase number 1, which is the studio version. The reason being is that this house is intended to evolve into 4 different phases. Right now it's phase number 1. As you can see, it's all up to wall level right now. We're going up to beams eventually next week. The intention for phase number 1 and eventually move on to phase number 2 is that people can have a house that they can rely on and it's sturdy enough to withstand hurricane weather.
The 5th house being built is located in the Mayamopan area. Contractors there are preparing to install the roofing. But the beauty of this studio home is in the finished product. The only completed home to date is located in Roaring Creek Village, with electricals and plumbing installed, landscaping completed, doors and windows inserted, and fresh paint on the walls. This house is ready for its new owner. And while this may not seem like much luxury to some, publicity manager at the ministry, Marissa Alamia, describes it as a saving grace for the first 150 recipients.
The truth is that all 150 applicants that will be that have been approved for this part of the project for our starter run are extreme need cases. Some of these women live in homes that the roof is falling in with children, with no running water, no electricity, in dire conditions. Some of them are in domestic situations that they need an out. So it covers quite a bit of ground. We tried to look at men who are disabled who can't do for themselves, not because they don't want to, but simply because they're limited.
Alamia says each structure is costing the ministry $30,000 to $35,000 to complete. Each recipient will sign an agreement to pay $25 weekly towards owning the house. At $100 a month, we're talking $1,200 a year. If we estimate the owners paying that off, that'll take more than a couple of decades. How much of that cost does the ministry absorb, and will the owners have to pay back?
Those decisions are made in cabinet, Mr. Lopez. That is not my decision at all. Right now we have been instructed that we are to tell the recipients that there's a $25 a week charge, and they will sign an agreement based on that.
What do you think about the payment plan and that the government is requesting that you carry a part of the burden?
Well, the payment plan, they scheduled something around, they gave me a wage that I could afford, so I have a job, and I think that would be not a problem for me to be paying it off. So,
reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
We also asked Alamia about the application process for the 150 homes the ministry plans to have completed by March of 2022. Cabinet will then prepare a plan to move forward with constructing additional homes in the new fiscal year.
The applications, there has always been a need, Ms. Habet, in the entire country for houses. That does not change with governments. Whether you are in or out of government, it doesn't change. Houses are always needed. That is the reality. We came into Ministry of Infrastructure Development and Housing, and we found applicants in there already, just sitting waiting with nobody attending to them. And then we, as a government, promised to build homes. So we have people coming into the ministry asking, when is that going to start to happen? And so we had to jump on that and try to do something, even in a pandemic. And so we started to receive applications, but to make it transparent and to ensure that it is equitable and to ensure that it is accountable, we have a housing team, a housing committee that is not made up of anybody that is at the ministry. And it is made up of both private and public counterparts. And they choose who is going to be approved or not approved. And they do that from being presented a case. They're presented 40 cases at a time, and then they decide what is approved and what's not approved.
Every year, Oceania's Ocean Hero Awards is a night of celebration where exceptional accomplishments in ocean conservation, advocacy, and conservation, accomplishments in ocean conservation, advocacy, and education are recognized. Tonight, a pair of recipients who exemplify what it means to be an ocean hero will be honored for their work in promoting and raising awareness about Belize's marine resources. Oceania's Vice President Janelle Chanona spoke with News 5 about this year's virtual celebration.
This is our second virtual Oceania Ocean Heroes ceremony. It's something that we really wanted to find a creative and innovative workaround given all the COVID restrictions, because this is hands down the team's favorite event of the year. It's really important for the team to recognize the Belizeans who are out there doing their part however they can, wherever they can. That's making a difference. So it's just been really important for the team that we go ahead and we do this. And the one kind of sneak peek I will give you is that it was really incredibly humbling for all of us that this year we received the most nominations we have ever received for this award. And reading the nomination summaries from the nominees was just so incredible, hearing Belizeans talk about the work of other Belizeans and such a bright spot in all of these despairing times. So we have a couple links on a couple platforms. It's been emailed out to all our wave makers. There's Instagram posts on this at Oceania_BZE, and of course our Oceania and Belize Facebook page. You can set your reminder using the link to be reminded, but the premiere starts at 7:30, so right after the news, to see this year's ceremony.
Attorney General Magali Marin Young appeared on Open Your Eyes on Tuesday morning to discuss a number of issues, including new changes that are coming into force on October 1st, where additional COVID regulations are concerned. Among those changes are a requirement for individuals to present a vaccination card or a negative PCR or rapid test result in order to be allowed entry into a public building. According to government's chief legal officer, the Ministry of Health and Wellness consulted with various stakeholders, including public officers, ahead of the new regulations being implemented. But the Public Service Union says that's not so. In a press release issued earlier today, the PSU refuted statements made by the Attorney General regarding those so-called consultations. Here's what President Dean Flowers shared with us this afternoon.
The AG informed the nation on Tuesday that the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the Minister of Health and Wellness had conducted consultations with the relevant stakeholders and the wider general public. And to the best of our knowledge, that statement was inaccurate, because as far as we're concerned, the labor movement or the labor sector was never consulted. And to the best of our knowledge, neither was the wider public and community consulted either in this matter. So I believe there is some form of miscommunication or misinformation between the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the Attorney General's ministry.
What is the PSU's position on the proposed changes that are to come into force on October 1st with respect of people needing to present either a vaccination card or the results of a PCR or a rapid test be able to enter government buildings?
Well, the PSU always advocates for adherence to the law. And so if it is that regulations are passed, which does not infringe on people's fundamental rights in an unjust fashion, then we will always encourage adherence to those regulations. However, where the proposed regulations are concerned, we don't believe they present a balanced choice to our constituents, and that being public officers. As you are aware, the AG said that the regulations will be directed specifically to public buildings, which means that the individuals who stand to be affected by this is public officers.
Just ahead, details of what the Superbond success means for Belize is coming up. But first, here's a weather update with data from the Belize Met Service.
This weather update is brought to you by Smart. This weather update was brought to you by Smart.
The vaccine is now available. We here at R&G Life encourage you to take the vaccine. Belize, it's time to roll up our sleeves.
I'm rolling up mine because I know what COVID can do to families.
Because I want to go back to the way things were.
I'm rolling up mine so that I'm able to do music again.
Because I want to protect my family.
Things are slowly getting back to normal. The new normal, which includes getting vaccinated. Trust the facts. When your turn comes, take the opportunity to get vaccinated. Roll up or believe.
The continued fight against COVID-19 requires the continued practice of public health measures across all sectors and in every community. Frequent and proper hand washing, wearing face masks, and physical distancing. Do you know who is not physical distancing? The Aedes aegypti mosquito. Did you know that dengue is the most common mosquito-borne viral disease in the world? So let's get to work. Use window and door screens to keep mosquitoes out. Change the water in vases and scrub inside surfaces to remove mosquito eggs. Avoid using saucers with potted plants to prevent collection of water. Securely cover water barrels and drums with mosquito netting and properly fitted covers. Scrub the inside walls of water barrels and drums with detergent 1 to 2 times per week. Walk around the outside of your home and remove or overturn containers that can collect water and become breeding sites. Mosquitoes only need a small amount of water to lay their eggs. Remove unwanted cans, bottles, buckets, or used tires. Other items still in use must be properly stored in covered areas to avoid water settling in them. Clean roof gutters and air conditioner trays. Debushing and removing tall grass from around your home or establishment is also key to reducing mosquito populations. Fight the bite and protect yourself and your family too from mosquito-borne diseases.
Bringing people together has always been SMART's mission and passion. That is why we are proud to have built a locally independent quality network from the ground up that spans the country with over 100 sites. We continue to add more affordable mobile data packages, broadband speeds, and voice services to meet your personal and business needs. SMART has set the standard of true competition with the most competitive prices on all services offered. We invite and welcome you to join the SMART family, where the value for your dollar matters. SMART will continue bringing new technologies, more affordable prices, network expansions, and people together. SMART, bringing people together.
Although he is still in Mexico City as part of GOB's official delegation, this morning Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance, Christopher Koyi, joined Channel 5's Open Your Eyes via Zoom to talk about the progress of the offering to bondholders. The Minister of State said the recent salary cuts and other fiscal measures built credibility with the bondholders, showing Belize is serious about turning the economy around. He says the good public relations work carried out by their advisors, as well as the marine conservation component, are what helped to bring 85% of the bondholders on board. He credits the Nature Conservancy as helping to create an innovative arrangement. At the moment, there are still details to be hammered out with TNC before the deal is finalized.
The Nature Conservancy is obviously the key player and in effect the key arranger for the procurement of this blue bond financing. Ultimately, that structure is not necessarily a loan from the Nature Conservancy, but in fact a private market transaction that they play an arranger role in fact. Credit Suisse in effect is the underwriter of those blue bonds. And ultimately, the financing will come from blue bond holders. And it's a little bit of a complicated structure, but that is where the funds really will be coming from. It's a very innovative transaction that will involve certain financial terms that enable us to gain cash flow relief, but also and beyond the debt relief that we are getting, but also that it helps us, for example, to look at situations where we might have natural disasters. So it encompasses and includes catastrophic risk insurance, so that in the event that we might have natural disasters and are not able to pay, or would be better off focusing some of our funds to dealing with those natural disasters as opposed to servicing debt, that catastrophic risk insurance will support us during that period of time.
Minister of State Christopher Koyi also discussed how Belize will benefit in the long run from the funds that will be saved under the bond buyback.
Unlike the private sector, the role of government is not to maximize profits or maximize shareholder wealth. It is to enhance or uplift the community, the citizenry, and to enable opportunities. So to the extent that we move away from running deficits and we are in a position where we can invest in public goods, that's where we can do a lot more. And in terms of public goods, what are those? Certainly, at least I would tell you personally from my experience, the really only long-term investment that will pay off for each and every one of us and all of us is in education. It certainly is for me is a passion, and I'm sure for Minister Fonseca is as well, and for this administration. Yeah. And I think that is an area where we can invest heavily in. And I think one of the pilot projects that the minister is looking at, and I think he has already mentioned, is in piloting free education on the south side, with a longer term view to expand that across the country, certainly at high school level. Yeah. So that is just one example. But then we also have to look at healthcare to invest much more into healthcare. And so as we are in a better fiscal position, we're not reactive, we are proactive in helping to build a better country and doing so through public investment.
Up next, Troy Da Boy premieres new music video, I Wish.
At Belize Diagnostic Center, we offer FDA-approved PCR testing for COVID-19. Get your results as quickly as 1 hour. Don't risk getting exposed to COVID-19 by going elsewhere. We take appointments, or we can come to your home or office using our concierge service with no additional fees. We have 10 locations countrywide. Call or WhatsApp us at 613-TEST. That is 613-8378 to schedule your test today.
What is the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine? The Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine is an RNA vaccine that triggers our immune system to develop antibodies against the SARS-CoV-2 virus that causes COVID-19. It helps to reduce hospitalization, severity of the disease, and death. What is the Pfizer vaccine made of, and is it safe? The Pfizer vaccine is made up of mRNA messenger ribonucleic acid, which are molecules that carry the genetic information needed to make proteins, lipid, salts, and sugar. It is safe for persons 12 years and older and does not contain the COVID-19 virus, hence cannot cause infection. Tests have shown that the vaccine is effective against current virus variants. Who should take the Pfizer vaccine? The Pfizer vaccine should be taken by persons 12 years of age and older who do not have severe allergic reaction after a previous dose of vaccine or have not had severe allergic reaction to any ingredient of this vaccine. 2 doses of the vaccine are required 3 weeks apart. If you are between the ages of 12 and 17 years, you are required to present a signed consent form before you are vaccinated. What are the side effects of the Pfizer vaccine? Some common side effects of the Pfizer vaccine are headache, fatigue, muscle pain, fever, chills, and swelling at the injection site. If side effects persist, contact your doctor as soon as possible. Does the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine prevent infection and transmission? No, vaccination alone does not prevent infection and transmission. we are still required to continue to wear masks properly, physically distance, wash and sanitize hands often, practice proper coughing and sneezing hygiene, and avoid crowds.
Vaccines protect you and they protect me. Getting vaccinated is one of the most important things you can do to keep yourself and your family safe and healthy. Once enough people are immunized, opportunities for an outbreak of disease becomes very low. And if we all choose to get vaccinated, we contribute in getting back to spending quality time with our loved ones in a safe way.
Es un hecho. Únicamente con Smart obtienes todo realmente ilimitado. Solo con Smart obtienes datos ilimitados en cualquier momento. Mientras que con el otro proveedor solo son datos dobles los fines de semana. Con datos ilimitados todos los días no hay necesidad de esperar, así que es un hecho que nuestros planes ilimitados superan a la competencia. Por lo tanto, no permita que le digan cómo y cuándo usar sus datos. Y obtenga llamadas, mensajes de texto y datos ilimitados. Vive la verdadera experiencia de planes ilimitados con Smart. Es un hecho. Haga el cambio y viva Smart.
He goes by the stage name Troy Da Boy, but dancehall artist Timothy Gentle of Orange Walk wants to spread positive vibes across the country. His music video, I Will, premiered today on YouTube. Gentle has been working the industry for a few years now, but has most recently been in studio producing singles. I Will is a motivational track that is needed during this time, where violence has been spiraling.
Have to keep the focus on the enemy. Know them when I love to see the enemy. Not bring nobody in a jail. I will, and I can.
The song itself, I actually recorded. This was one of the first songs that I recorded, but I waited some time for it to release, and it actually is something I do believe will reflect on a lot of youths very good at this time. The main theme or the main idea behind I Will actually comes from the name, where motivation, inspiration, this is a big theme. It the chorus itself is kind of like a mantra to keep pushing no matter how hard it is, no matter what obstacles you're faced with. This song, just based on what is happening right now in the country, I would definitely want youths or just around my age range to actually listen to the song and understand that everyone is facing some type of trouble, and this definitely is something that you can listen to and feel some type of hope. But the song itself doesn't have like an age preference. Young, old, you can listen to it, and I'm sure it would relate in some way no matter what situation it is. I'm working on my first EP, and that will be released in the beginning of next year. So at this time it's just going to be singles that I'm releasing, but all of my current music can be found on any platform, whether it's Spotify, iTunes, Audiomack. You can also find it on TikTok. But the music video itself, I just premiered it on YouTube. Definitely getting a lot of traction. I do like the feedback so far, but definitely check it out on YouTube.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.